And so, as you say, this is Billy Ainscough. We've got Billy's from Merseyside. Tonight we've got a Good Friday special on Death to Life testimonies. We're very grateful to have you here, Billy, and thank you for coming forward. And we know that you were in Hillsborough, in the Hillsborough disaster. Right in the middle of things. And we're really interested to hear how your life changed at that point.
Yeah.
So I'll hand it over to you if that's okay with you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. Well, before I start, it's all to do with the Lord. It's got nothing whatsoever to do with me. If it was left to me, I'd have been dead 30 odd years ago. I was born and bred in Liverpool, in Bootle, and growing up in the 70s, it was just football mad, especially Liverpool Football Club. Went to match every week with my dad, standing on the cop, watching all the great players through the 70s and 80s. And that's all my life was, really, just football. I wanted to play football. I was always playing football. I wanted to play for Liverpool, get that red shirt on, but that didn't transpire. So I just watched them all the time, especially through the 80s. You know, Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush. It was just an amazing time to be a Red supporter. And I'd never been bothered with church. I've never been a Christian. Never went to church. Didn't bother with it. Didn't believe in it at all. And it was something that never came into my mind at all. You know, I didn't believe in God. I knew people that used to believe. You know, my mum used to believe in God, but I never bothered at all whatsoever. And I just went through my life like that. Started working when I left school, become a builder. And 1984, I started doing the building, and just usual life, you know, going out, going to the pub, drinking with the lads, playing football. That's all my life was, really. And then it came up to 1989. That's, as I say, that's when Hillsborough happened. And the year didn't start off very good. It was one of them horrible years. My grandma died in the February, and I was the last person to see her. I was sitting with her in the afternoon, and she died that evening. So that was quite traumatic for me. And then we got to April. We got the tickets for the semi-final, and we ended up getting to Hillsborough. We took the wrong turn off, actually, on the motorway when we were going there, and we ended up having to come back on ourselves. So we parked in a estate. All I remember was it was just up a hill on an estate. Got to the ground, I'm not too sure, roughly probably 2:30, 20 to 3, something like that. And it was absolutely chocker outside. Not much organisation at all. I just remember being right next to the police force, right at the back of the police force, and I just thinking to myself, this is going to stand on me, or it's going to kick me, and I'm going to miss the match. That's all I was concerned about, was getting into the ground to watch the Reds. And there was a lot of pushing in the crowd. There was, as I say, there was no real organisation whatsoever. And you could hear people shouting from the front where the gates were to get into the ground. And only later on did I realise, you know, there was a lot of people getting hurt at the front there as well. I think there were only 4 or 5 gates to get into the ground, turnstiles. And as I say, there was no queues outside at all whatsoever. Not like when you're at Liverpool, you know, you were always in a queue, and you stayed in the queue till you got to the ground and got in. But this time it wasn't like that at all. And it's getting closer to kick off, so everyone's wanting to get in the ground. That's when they open the gate at the side. Now it's the gate that they open at the end of the match where all the fans come out. And the only way I can describe it is it was like a plug getting pulled out of a sink, and the water goes down the plug hole, and the crowd just went that way. And I just got carried along with this crowd from where I was outside the ground to where I ended up. I ended up probably about 15 foot behind the goal. It took me about 1 or 2 minutes at the moment. The crowd just went forward, and as I say, you just got carried along. You got into this big courtyard. There was no one there to tell you where to go. You just seen the opening to get into the ground, so everyone just went that way, not knowing there was two other entrances to go into. As I say, went past as I got into the ground. The crowd seemed to just carry on straight down, and I seen my cousin near the back with some of my mates that he'd gone the match with. Went past them, couldn't stop. Went past them, and I ended up about 15 foot behind the goal, just on the right hand side of the goal. And the position I was in when I ended up where I was, I had my left arm across my chest, and my right arm was up in the air like that. So this palm was on the back of someone's head. My elbow was in the side of someone's head, and I was just jammed in that position. And didn't think much of it at the time. You just in the ground. You wait for the game to start. And I'd been in matches where it's been tight in the cup. You've been in some of those European matches, the derbies, Man United, whatever it was, and it was always busy. But wherever you moved, you'd always move sideways or forward, but you always came back. But this time, when you were going forward, there was no coming back. And it was, as I say, it was only later on, a couple of months later, that I found out that the away supporters end was sectioned into three or four sections. So there was no way we could spread out, because I'm thinking, why aren't we moving? We should be moving either sideways or moving forward and backwards, but there was nothing. And I'm stuck in this position. Excuse me. And I got to the point where I couldn't move. I was just in this position, and I'm breathing. And every time I'm breathing in, I'm getting tighter and getting tighter. It got to the point where it was like my chest was in like a vice. And every time I breathed in, it was getting tighter, slowly getting tighter and tighter. And still didn't really think anything was as bad as it was, because you think, at a football match, you don't think what's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then the match kicked off. I think we hit the post. I think it was. Crowds moved forward a little bit, expecting to come back. Didn't come back. Just went forward. Got tighter and tighter. And I'm saying, just jammed in this position. And it was only, as I say, you lose track of time when you're in something like that. Probably 20 minutes, I don't know, 20 minutes, something like that. I'm watching. There was a man who'd turned round and he was facing me rather than facing the pitch. And I'm watching him. And as I'm in this position, I'm just looking at this guy's face. And I just watched him die in front of me. His eyes, it just seemed to, like, everything just stopped. His pupils just popped. And that's when I realised something's not right. This is bad, and I need to get out. But I'm still in this position. Couldn't move. Couldn't, whatever you tried to do, you couldn't, because you were just jam-packed in this position. I'm getting tighter. Every time I'm breathing in, like I said before, you were slowly getting squeezed tighter, because there was still more people coming in, because no one knew what was going on. And then hope, I'm trying to think, I've got to get out, I've got to get out, I've got to try and get to the fence, if I can get to the fence, because some people were trying to climb over the fence, you know, they still had nothing to gate by that time on the fence. Nothing was happening, and it didn't matter who you were, where you were, there was nothing you could do. You know, I lost a friend, my sister, one of my sister's best friends didn't come back. He was a massive lad, like built like a back door, big lad, but he didn't come, he got crushed to death, didn't come back. So I always think it's where your arms were, that whether you died instantly or not. You know, I think his arms must have been down, so he's had that full crush on his chest. But I had this little bit of a barrier here and here, and it was just getting tighter and tighter. And I got to the point where I thought, I'm not going to get out of this. Still not thinking I was going to die, thinking more of I'll pass out and I'll end up on the pitch somewhere. And then got to the point where I knew I wasn't going, and I knew I was dying, and all I could think about was it was my sister's 18th birthday party. And all was going through my mind was, I've spoiled the party, because I'm not going to get out of here, I'm going to die, and I've spoiled this party. These strange things that were going through your mind. And as I say, I'm still jammed in this position. I got to the point where I'll probably down to my last 2 or 3 breaths, probably, I don't know, about 30 seconds from passing out and dying. And I had this sensation of being pulled down. Although I'm jammed in this position, it was like my soul was just getting ripped out of my body. It was going down, getting hotter and hotter. And I just knew, I said, that's it, I'm going. I'm not going to see my mum and dad again. You know, I'm going to see my sister. I didn't know where my mates were. I'd lost them outside somewhere. And as I'm going, as clear as I'm talking to you today, as clear as I talk to anybody anytime, a voice just said, call out to me. I didn't know who it was, didn't know what it was, but it seemed to snap me back into a bit of reality again. Thinking it was someone in the crowd. So I'm trying to look around, no one there, I'm still in this position. And again, I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on. And I just felt myself getting dragged down again, getting tighter and tighter. I got to the point where I think I was on my last breath. I couldn't breathe anymore, because every time I breathed in, it was getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I just knew, this is it, I'm going, I'm 21, I'm going. And again, the voice just went, call out to me. Second time, didn't beg me, didn't scream at me or shout at me, it just said, call out to me. But there was so much authority in the voice that I knew if I don't do it, I'm not going to get out. And I just, for some strange reason, I looked up into the sky, just moved my head up, and I just went, if you're there, if you're real, get me out. That's all I said. And the second I said it, the crowd moved, only about 12 inches, but it was enough for my arms to drop down and for me to start breathing again. No reason on this planet why that should have happened. You know, when you look at physics and the way people are coming in, there was no way that I could move forward. It was tight, really, really tight. But there was enough space just for me to get my breath back. Started realising what was going on. I was able to turn around, pulled a fellow with me, who, the poor fellow's face was all over my elbow at the time, pulled in with me, excuse me, and then just ended up trying to get out the way I came back in. Again, I don't really know how long, probably 15, 20 minutes going back to where I came in. You were stumbling over people on the floor, you were trying, you know, people are screaming everywhere there, and eventually I got through the tunnel. There's people lying in the tunnel, got outside, got into the courtyard, and then I just sat down. I had to sit down on my own somewhere, gathered my thoughts, and then my main thought then was, where's my mates? I can't find my mates, I don't know where they are. Wasn't going back in the crowd, so I ended up going back to the car, because that's what we always said, you know, if you get lost when you're away, go meet at the car. So yeah, eventually got to the car, probably another hour and a half, 2 hours, I'm not too sure. Got back to the car and I sat down on the curb next to the car, and it was the first time in my life I just started crying. I just couldn't stop crying. I was crying my eyes out. My mates weren't there, so I didn't know what was going on. And a fella taps me on the shoulders and just says, "Get inside, lad, and ring your mum." So I'm thinking, wow, what's going on here? Goes in the house, loads of Scousers in his house. And apparently it was on the television, so they'd seen everything that was going on. And he just went, "Ring your mum, tell her you're all right." So I rang her and just went, "I'm okay," and put the phone down, couldn't speak to them. And got back to Liverpool. Eventually, I say, my friends turned up about probably another hour or two later. No talking whatsoever in the car, just silence all the way back. And I didn't really understand what had happened, who had spoke to me. But I was out. And then when I got back to Liverpool, like the nightmares started kicking in. Then every time I go to sleep, I was back in the crowd. I was waking up, I was sweating, and there was nothing I could do about it. So I just started drinking a lot more than what I was. And I found out very quickly that the faster I drank, the faster I got drunk. And then when I got drunk, I'd collapse somewhere and pass out. And I didn't have the nightmares then. So that became quite a daily occurrence for me then, you know, because I didn't want the nightmares. I didn't know what was going on. It was on the news all the time. It was constantly on. I didn't know, again, didn't have any Christian friends, so I didn't really understand what had gone on. Just that I was out. But then you're getting hammered with the guilt then, you know, why me? When you find out slowly as it was coming back, 2 mates had died, hadn't come back. And then that was hammering you then, so I was drinking more. And that just seemed to be my lifestyle then. I was just going through this horrible motion of going to work, when I did go back to work eventually, getting me money, going for the drink, and just passing out, whatever it was. And then I got to the September in 1989, and I'd gone out. I wasn't going out that day. It was just my mate had got married. And that was one of the big things I said I'd never do, get married. I'd never wanted to get married. But I went out with one of my friends just to see him. And then we ended up going to one of the local pubs, like discotheque places in Bootle. And then I just met I seen this woman when I was there. I just, for some reason, she just stood out, you know, in the crowd. I was dead corny, like, but she stood out in the crowd. It was shocker. And we always said in our house, you know, if when you meet the right person, you'll know, and you know, you learn music sort of thing, and everything will be great and all rosy. And as I'm talking to her, I went over and was talking to her. I can hear bells ringing. So I'm thinking, oh wow, what's going on here? I haven't got a clue what's going on. And it was only later on, after I got married, that I found out she had bells on the bottom of her trousers. So it was crazy the way things were working at the time. But I met this amazing woman. Met her in the September. We were engaged in December and married the week before the first anniversary of Hillsborough, the following. So within 6 months, the Lord had picked me up and got me married. And it's only when I look back that it was to get me out of the lifestyle that I was in. You know, I was married now. I was living in a flat with Joe, this amazing woman. You know, she's been used by the Lord so many times to give me a kick up the backside, you know, or to put me back on the path again. Although she's not saved, he's used her so many times, and the love that I have for this woman is amazing. You know, it gets deeper and deeper every day. And then it was only probably about, I still hadn't become a Christian then, so it was still only about probably the following Christmas. I was coming up to Christmas, and I was working in one of my dad's friends' houses. He was a Christian. I thought, all right, I'll go there. But he was always, you have a laugh with him, he was a Liverpool supporter, but he'd always want to talk about Jesus. And I didn't want to do that. I was like, oh, no, I don't want to listen to you. I just want to do me painting and get off. And then he said, I'm talking on, I think he was doing a Christmas Eve service in a local church by ours. And he said, do you want to come and have a listen? And I said, yeah, for some reason. I don't know why. Still today, I don't know why. But I said, yeah, okay, I'll come and listen to you. So I went home, said to Jo, I've just said I'm going to church on Sunday to listen to this fella. And she said, what do you do that for? I said, I haven't got a clue, I don't know. So she just said, well, fair enough, if you want to go, you go. So I went to the pub before I went to church. I had to have a few pints. So I wasn't going into church, but I was having a few pints. I was sitting at the back. I said, well, at least he'll see me. I'll wave to him and I can get off then. And then he starts talking about this Jesus Christ. I'm expecting them to be talking about the Christmas story. I was waiting for the donkeys and the wise men and the inn and all that. But he's talking about Jesus and his blood. He died for you to save you. And I'm thinking, that's the Easter story, that isn't. You shouldn't be talking about that now. It's a bit early, that one. But every time he talked about Jesus and he said, and it's blood that was shed on the cross for you, it was like my heart was bursting out of my chest. And I'm thinking, wow, I don't know what's going on here. So I went home. I got given a Bible off my mum. She was always trying to give me something to read. So I read I remember I'm always saying, read John. If you're going to read something, read John. So I just come home, started reading John. And then as I'm reading it, it was like a light just switched on. When I'm reading who he is, what he's done for us, when he died on the cross, he shed his blood for me. My sins are forgiven if I come in repentance to him. And everything just seemed to be slotting into place, like this big jigsaw was all flying everywhere. It was just starting to slowly come into place. And then I realised, I said, right, I know who you are now. I said, I know who it was who spoke to me. I said, I know who I'm talking to now. And I accept you as my Lord and Saviour. I just went in my bedroom, got on my knees. I just went, I'm sorry for what I've done. I know who you are. I accept you, that you died for me on the cross. And forgive me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going from now. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I said, but I just give my life to you. And it was from that point that this, as I said, this huge light bulb went on. Then I realised it was the Lord Jesus Christ who had spoken to me. And then that following February 1991, I got myself baptised. And that's the day I say I became a born again Christian, the 5th of February 1991. And then that's when this amazing walk, it's we've been married 31 years next week. This amazing walk with the Lord has taken me all over the place, taken me to Belfast, to Dublin, all over the country. The church I'm in now have done CDs with my testimony that have just gone all over the world. It's been, blows your mind when you think about it. And it's just been this amazing walk where the more I've gone on with him, the more I realise how much I need him, how much I need to trust him. He's put me in a few positions where I've had to just leave it with him. My wife's been sick a few times, but one of the main times was she used to have a little cyst behind her ear, and it was growing a little bit, but not much. But she wanted to get rid of it because it was just showing. So she got rid of it. She got it cut out and got some stitches put in it. And I was in university then because the Lord had led me into teaching, to become a primary school teacher. And I was coming up to some exams, and she'd been asked to come into the hospital to get the stitches out. So I said, I'll come with you. She went, no, just leave it. I'm only getting them out. I'll be okay. Thinking nothing of it. Comes home and she just said, you need to sit down. That cyst, they took out a tumour. and they found that she had quite a massive tumour in her head, but was right inside, mashed up with all the nerves and the salivary glands and everything. And it was just this massive baseball bat getting smacked into your stomach. You know, you think, wow, what am I going to do here? You know, I'd die for this woman. I love her that much. I'd swap places with her in an instant. But the Lord just went, it's in my hands. You need to step back now. And that's been one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn, because I've always done some stuff for myself all the time. I've always dealt with situations before I knew the Lord, whether it was fighting, whether it was running away, whether confrontation, whatever it might have been. I've always dealt with it myself. But these times when I'm walking with the Lord, he's the one in control now. And he's saying, I'm in control, leave it with me. And I've had to step back, itching to get in, but I can't, because he's in control. And every single time he's brought us through it. You know, he got the tumour out of her head. It wasn't cancerous. And she's just got a bit of a scar down the side of her face, which I just, all the glory goes to the Lord every single time. You've just got to give him the glory. Went through teaching. I was teaching for 14 years, primary school teacher. For the last 5-6 years of that 14 years, I was an assistant head teacher. But the job became so stressful. I took my eyes off the Lord. I was doing what he wanted me to do, but I was focusing on that rather than him. And I ended up having a massive breakdown, chronic breakdown, which knocked me. I was probably 2 or 3 years. I was out of the game. I was sitting on the couch for about 12 months, wouldn't get up. Again, thinking, what's going on? I haven't got a clue what's going on. And he's just been there all the time. Every valley that we go through, that I've been through, however dark it becomes, I know he's there with me. I know he's always with me, guiding me. It doesn't feel like it sometimes, but he's always there. And it's just what I have noticed is it's just this daily walk with the Lord, where we've got to give it to him. Whatever we're doing, wherever we're going, whatever our job is, we've got to give it to him every single day, because we don't know what's going to happen. I was only going to a football match, but I wasn't expecting to die. You expect to go to a match, see Liverpool win, which they always did then, and come back. Wasn't expecting anything that was happening, but the Lord's there. And when I look back over my life and I see the times when it's bad things have happened, I know that his hand's been in it. And through everything, what he has done is he's given me this peace in my heart. Doesn't stop me going through the valleys. I go through them. Sometimes I'm praying to him, Lord, can some of these valleys be a little less painful? Because I've had some really painful valleys, but he's there. I know that he's there with me. And it's the peace that you get, the peace in my heart. I can't understand what's happening till maybe later on. I don't know why I've gone through it. A few of my own personal valleys. I ended up having meningitis one time. Pain, I've never felt pain like it. Unbelievable pain. Whole body's on fire. My brain was on fire. But the point was to get into this ward where I ended up, to speak to the lads that were in the ward, speak to the nurses that were in the ward. So you can see where he moves. I just keep giving it to him each day now. These last couple of years have been quite a hard one. Not so much with the virus going on, but with coming out of having the breakdown, getting back into the building again, starting business again. But what I have learned now, it's just to give him it every single day. I've got to give the Lord that day, so he's in control. And by doing that, I get the peace. I get the peace in my heart, and knowing that he's there always, whatever we go through, he's always there for us. And if anything from the talk tonight, it's knowing that, you know, being a Christian, it's not really easy. It's not a rosy walk where everything's perfect. You know, you do suffer. You know, we're still human. We still go through life the way we do, but the Lord's with us. You know, he's holding our hand. He's watching us. He's praying for us. He's guiding us. We've just got to give it to him every single day. We've got to give it to him, and just hope that we can help someone, we can speak to someone, plant a seed for someone, just guide someone, you know, to point them into the path of the Lord Jesus Christ, to know that, you know, he is the only way. There is no other way, especially the way the world is today. You know, there's a lot of unrest, there's a lot of very, very scared people at the moment, but you can have that peace, and the peace is only in the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Hopefully that will help someone tonight, you know, whoever's listening, that, you know, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Amen.
Thanks so much, Billy. Thanks for going into all that for us and recapping through it all. It sounds like you've had a bit of a rough time.
Yeah, sorry about my voice was going halfway through there. Sorry.
You're all right. We can just about understand the Scouse accent.
That's it, yeah. I was going to ask for the interpretation, but it's okay.
Yeah. No, good. We can hear you clearly. Thank you very much. I was looking at when I knew you were coming on. I was looking at pictures of Hillsborough. And it's bad enough just to look at the pictures of what was going on there and how tight people were crammed in. But to be in it, I imagine was quite hard.
Yeah, well, usually, as I say, in the cop, you would move, and you'd go either side, or you'd go forward and come backwards. But this one, you just couldn't move, and it was only later on, as I said, it splits. There's big barriers that were stopping. That's why we couldn't spread out. So you were just in this one little pen, and as I say, that was the only gate everyone's seen when you were coming in, because there was no guards outside saying move left or right. There was other sections to go into. So
yeah,
so it could have been avoided, but there you go. Yeah.
But the Lord called out to you in your real time of need.
Yeah.
That, like you said, that could have been you gone at 21 years old.
Yeah, I was going. As I say, I still, even now, I don't know why I shouted out, because I didn't never believed in God whatsoever. Never thought there was a God. But it's amazing when you do look back over your life, the way the Lord's had his hands, even before I knew him, the way he's had his hand on my life. It's been amazing.
And can you see that now as you look back? You can see why the Lord reached out to you then, and why you called out to him.
Oh yeah, because as I say, there's so many people I've spoken to since then of the Lord. It's been an amazing walk. I got asked to go to Dublin with a friend. It was a drug rehabilitation centre in Dublin. And what they do is it's a Christian-run home, but it's run by drug addicts who become born-again Christians, got themselves clean. And they have like a monthly or bi-monthly get-together in a country somewhere outside Dublin. Hired this big bungalow house, and then we all met in this place for like a weekend where they give the gospel, and they get together, play football, fellowship together. And I just got asked to give me testimony to these lads, 25 hardened drug addicts, not knowing what I'm going to do. You know, the Lord just said, just tell them what I've done for you. And that night, 25 of them got on their knees and gave their life to the Lord. Just blows you away. You know, you're thinking, who am I? I'm nothing. I'm just a scally from Bootle, you know. But the Lord uses anybody. If he can use me, he can use anybody to reach people. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much. I think we'll stop the live feed there.